Hi, I'm Tony Northrup, and for my Lightroom video training series, I'd like to go over the map module, maybe the coolest of all the modules in Lightroom. So let's flip into Lightroom and just take a quick look at it. Right away here, I'm gonna select Map, and I'm gonna hit Shift F a couple of times to make it full screen because we don't need those menu bars. And so here, right away, you see a whole map of the world. And if you don't have any GPS tagged photos, you probably won't see any actual pictures in here. You can see the library I've loaded here only has 117 pictures with GPS information, and they're right here from a trip in Japan. I have many more GPS tagged pictures. I just kind of carved out a subset of all of them. But just to show you what the map module can do, let's zoom in tight. So the easiest way to do this is usually with the scroll wheel on your mouse. So I'll just scroll in and get in nice and tight. And you can see it kind of summarizes how many pictures it has in a location. And now that we get a little closer, we see there's 41 pictures in the Tokyo area and 76 over here near Osaka. So we'll get in a little closer, and you can see the closer we get, the more it kind of breaks apart the groups. And as we zoom right into Tokyo, pretty soon you can see all these different places where I took pictures. And I can click any one of these and it will show me the pictures that I took at that particular location. And took a picture of a menu there. You can see it's just a really cool way to browse and find your pictures. It's also very, very practical because I can't tell you how many times I've been looking for a particular picture that I had in mind, but I couldn't find it. And I thought, I don't know how to find that picture, but I remember that I was at such and such a location. So the map module kind of mirrors how we actually think about our pictures by showing us the location information. And don't worry, if your camera doesn't have GPS information, you can manually tag locations, or you can use an app on your smartphone to automatically synchronize it with your pictures taken with just about any camera. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Let's dig into the Lightroom module just a little bit more. Now, if you were to look closely at these pictures, you might notice that most of them are taken with a smartphone. And that's because smartphones almost always can tag photos automatically with GPS because they have GPS built in for navigation and stuff. So if you have an iPhone, it's probably tagging without you having to enable it manually. I had to go in and turn on location services for pictures on my Android phone. So check in your phone settings if you import pictures from your smartphone and you don't find the location information. So if you do have pictures with location information, it can be helpful to find just those pictures that have been tagged. So now I'll show you how to find those tagged pictures and quickly zoom in on them. Jumping back into the Lightroom module here, I'll zoom out a bunch, go back to the world view. And as we look at this, we can see there are filters up here for pictures that are visible on the map, tagged and untagged. And what this does is when you click this, it doesn't seem to do anything, right? But when you switch over to the library view, you'll see that it will limit the pictures currently selected so that you can only see those pictures that are visible on the map. So it's connecting to the library view, in other words. And we'll see a new location, map location library filter here that has current map location selected. Going back into the map module, bring up the film strip view here so that we can see the pictures I'm browsing. And I'll select tagged to select just the tagged photos. So you can see there are 292 photos tagged. Or I can select untagged to select just those photos which haven't been tagged. You can see most of them go dark, except these pictures, well, it takes a second to update, pictures over here that have not yet been tagged. Many of us will just use the map with its default view, but you can kind of fine-tune the map to make it look exactly the way you want it. So let's quickly go over the different settings in the map. There are a few settings down here that allow you to change the appearance of it. So by default, you'll see the hybrid view, which shows you a satellite map along with some political boundaries for states and countries. You have other options here. The road map will probably be a little quicker to render, especially if you have a slower computer. The satellite map will take a longer time to render and will also take longer to download. Now, all these maps are provided by a Google service to Adobe, and your computer doesn't have a whole world map stored in it. It has to go online and access them. So if you're working on an airplane or something without a internet connection, you're not going to be able to see your maps. This requires an internet connection. You have a couple of other options down here, including the terrain option, which might be good if you're a hiker and you've been logging pictures. You can also select the light option or the dark option. I'm going to jump back to hybrid because that happens to be my favorite. You can zoom in and zoom out with these if you prefer to do that instead of the scroll wheel. If you're concerned about accidentally changing a location by just dragging a picture around, you can select the lock markers icon, which is the next icon here. So I'll lock that. And this last icon allows you to load track logs. We'll go over that in just a minute. If you want to quickly jump to a location, you can just click up here and search something. So now I've transported us to Turkey, which is convenient because I have some pictures from Turkey which were not GPS tagged. My camera doesn't have a GPS in it, but it'll be fairly easy for me to drag those pictures from Turkey onto the map. So what I'll do is I'll jump into the library view just to make it a little easier for me to find the pictures. Scroll down here. Okay, this is my first Turkish picture. I'll scroll down to the last one. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then click here. And now all those pictures from Turkey are selected, 150 photos. So I'll jump back into the map module, and I've found Istanbul on the map. All I need to do to tag them is to grab these pictures and drag them up. Lightroom will ask you to enable reverse geocoding. All that means is it's going to take the latitude and longitude, the description of where the picture is taken on the Earth, and look up the city and state and country. It's useful. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want it. It just has to communicate with the internet to figure it out. So go ahead and click enable unless you're really concerned about privacy, and click OK to confirm. So what we see is 150 pictures have been dropped, well, roughly into Istanbul. I wasn't especially precise about it. I'll unlock it. So I see I kind of missed Istanbul when I originally dragged it in, so I'll just drag them in again. Now they're more properly on Istanbul, and you can see, unlike Tokyo, they're not scattered about. You know, I can't see the difference between the pictures I took at the Basilica Cistern versus the Grand Bazaar because they're all in one place. But I could go in and find individual pictures and drag them to the exact location if I happen to remember it. Some location information is better than nothing. So it is helpful for me to have all my Istanbul pictures in Istanbul, even if it doesn't have street level accuracy. It'll still make them easier for me to find in the future. Depending on how patient you are, you could go through and drag them all into their precise location. But don't worry, as I mentioned earlier, you can use your phone to add precise location information automatically. Now let's talk about creating saved locations. This is just a quick way to return to locations that you frequently search, if that's important to you. I'll jump back into Lightroom. You can access the saved locations panel right here. And if you want to save a location, just click the plus sign and then name a location. I'm going to call this Istanbul. It'll name it by default in a pretty smart way. And then you set the radius that it's going to search to. So you can see if it's a very precise location, you might just set it at 0.2 miles. Basically, you're just going to adjust the size of the circle to wherever the pictures will allow. And then if you select that save location, you'll automatically select all the pictures inside the circle. You can change this later if you screw it up. I'll go ahead and click create here. So now what we see is it's a saved location, and I can select it and then grab this center marker here to move it over a little bit. So now it's a little more precise. If I decide I want to change the radius, I can grab that upper marker and just drag it up or down. We'll just circle all of Istanbul there. It kind of goes over to the other side of the river too. Good enough. Now, if I deselect something, if I just select one of these pictures here, I can always return here and click again. So just for example, let's go to Austin, Texas. And I will add this as a saved location. And now that I've selected that saved location, I can quickly jump back over to Istanbul just by selecting the check mark here. Bam, now I'm back at Istanbul. If you find yourself jumping all over the map, saved locations can save you a few clicks. Let's take a quick look at what location metadata looks like in Lightroom. So let's jump back into Lightroom, and I'll just zoom back. I want to find my Japan pictures that have actually been tagged. There we go. So we'll zoom in on Japan, and I'll show you another shortcut for zooming in. You can hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and then draw a box around the pictures. And Lightroom will just zoom you in. So let's go right into Osaka here. There we go. Just a quicker way to zoom in. So let's select these 71 pictures and then look at the metadata. And you can see the metadata over here shows mixed, 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 and that's not especially useful. If you want to know the precise metadata, we can click one of the pictures. going to hit Control D to deselect everything and then select one of these. And now we can see the file name, of course, as well as some location information. So here are the exact latitude and longitude recorded by my phone's GPS. And remember we talked about that reverse geo encoding. Here you can see the town and city and state and country, as well as the country code here. And of course you have the time. This is cool. It also shows you the direction you were facing when you took the picture. Depending on your camera and the GPS signal at the time, you might also see an approximate altitude. The way GPS data works, altitude tends to not be that precise. Now up here, there's a drop list for seeing different types of data. By default, the map will show you location data, but you can look at all the other standard data that you might be used to seeing. So if you actually want to see the shutter speed and stuff, you could select EXIF data, but usually for the map, you want to be looking at the location data anyway. You'll also notice the sync metadata button down here. If you happen to select more than one, you could use this to sync multiple different pictures. My producer Justin just asked me a great question about this. He asked if he could set the location of his pictures by typing in the city and state. Now you can type in the city and state. So we have a picture selected here, and I'll put in Tempe, Arizona, and it will let you type in anything here, but then it doesn't actually change the location of the picture because the location is always defined by the GPS metadata. You can change the city and state to read whatever you want. Lightroom can automatically look it up with the reverse geoencoding, but it's not going to use that to place it on the map. It's always going to use the GPS data. And the way you specify that is by dragging and dropping. You could type in the GPS coordinates if you happen to know it, but most of us are just going to use drag and drop. The map and library modules are intertwined. So if you select a group of pictures on the map, you'll see them selected in the library and vice versa. Let's look into how you can filter the map pictures to refine your results a little bit better. Jump back in here, and you can see that there's a filter panel down here that allows you to select a group of pictures. So if you wanted to see just the 4-star pictures, you could select just the 4-star pictures here or just the 5-star pictures. You could see these pictures haven't been rated, so it's returning 0 results. But if you had some that were rated, that would be useful to you. Now I've already shown you how to drag and drop pictures to manually tag locations. It's pretty easy to do, but something that can be even easier if you're moving around a lot is to use an application on your phone to generate a GPS track log and then synchronize it with Lightroom. There are many free applications for both Android and iPhone that generate what are called GPX track logs. All you need to do is search your store for GPX recorder, and you should find one of many different apps. There's not a lot to distinguish them. Basically, you fire it up and then you hit the record button, and it's going to create a track log for you. You then need to take that track log and get it from your phone onto your computer so that you can import it in Lightroom. Now, before you generate the track logs and actually take pictures, you want to make sure that your camera's clock is set accurately. More precisely, I would say set your camera's clock so that it matches that of your phone. The closer it is, the more accurate the results are going to be. Chelsea and I took a drive around town. She took pictures out of the car while I drove, and I ran a GPS track log app. So with that file synchronized to this computer, let's look at those pictures and see how Lightroom handles it. Jumping into Lightroom here, go into the library module and turn off these filters. You can see it synchronized them automatically. I'm just going to scroll down to those pictures that we took. And I know there are these last few pictures. There we go. That's the set of 25 pictures. So I've zoomed into about where I live, and I'm going to open the track log that my phone recorded. I'll go to load track log, and then here I'll select it. It's a GPX file, which is a XML file. It's basically a text file. You could go in and look at it if you wanted to, though you probably wouldn't want to. And you can see that it's recorded my GPS locations, and if I hover my cursor over it, it even shows the time that I was driving. Now, this is funny because it says I was driving at 10:40, but I wasn't. I was driving at about 2:40, and if I select the pictures here and look at the metadata, you can see it's showing 2:40 is stamped in the pictures. This is the time zone offset. So my track log thinks it was 10:40, my camera thinks it was 2:40 because there's a 4-hour time difference from where I am from universal time. Be nice if we all lived in Greenwich, right? Well, we don't. So what I'll do to correct that is select all the pictures that I want to tag. I just shift-clicked on the last one to select them all. Now all those 25 pictures are selected, and I'll click this track log icon here and then select Set Time Zone Offset. So it's going to be pretty smart about it. It actually shows you the time zone recorded on your pictures and the time zone recorded on the track log. And you can see right now they don't match up. I just need to drag this until they match up, basically until this turns black. Now the pictures and the track log timestamps match up, and I'll click OK. With that done, I can click this and then select Auto Tag 25 selected photos. There you go. It looked at my track log and matched the time up that I took each picture. So now I can see all the pictures that Chelsea took as we were driving. I can click this and view the picture that she took of the river. Took a picture of the GoPro. Here we are just in a neighborhood, kind of a nice view. You can see here we're going over the bridge. Oh, looks like there's a jogger there. Another shot from over the bridge. The GPX logging is useful and fun, but I'll say it's also kind of a pain. We have to have the app running on your phone, and that burns through a lot of phone batteries. You also have to remember to start it and stop it and make sure that your camera's time is appropriate, and then you have to get the track log off of your phone and onto your computer. For me, that required plugging my phone into my computer and then kind of browsing through a bunch of different folders until I found the right file. Anyway, it's kind of a pain, and it makes me wish all my cameras had GPS loggers built into them. Some do and some don't, but anyway, that's one of the reasons that I like to recommend cameras that have GPS built into them. But for those that don't, and you really want to know where you were for taking pictures, check out the GPX logging apps in your phone store. In summary, the map module in Lightroom is fun and useful, one of the coolest features in Lightroom. It's a lot more fun if you get a camera that has GPS logging built in, but if you don't, I suggest plugging in your smartphone and just unloading all those pictures right into Lightroom because they probably have location data turned on. If you like this video, I hope you'll check out the rest of my Lightroom video training series. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at tony@northrup.org. Thank you.